paperback project continues. And look, I read one of the thinnest books there is, perhaps the thinnest. I think Wake and Fright is thinner. Australian. But here it's got a kangaroo massacre in it, so I'm reluctant to get into that one. This is the 12th book I've read from a bookcase of perhaps 190 or so. This is a play from 1921 from Italy, from Luigi Pirandello, who's a playwright and a story writer. He won the Nobel Prize in 1934. The translator's introduction to this says there are two great game-changing plays of the 20th century. This, in 1921, and Waiting for Godot from Beckett in whenever that was, the 50s. I have a copy of Waiting for Godot in that case there. It would be very out of character of me to have gotten rid of Waiting for Godot. But some of those book giveaways or sales during the Purge, when I pared my collection down to a third of its former glory. Yeah, there it is. Let's see what year it was. 1954. Squirrel, you win the Kitty Medal of Honor. So according to the translator, it was this and this. It's not often that anything really happens in the history of drama, but at least twice in this our century now about over, something did. Many of us can remember the second of these occasions. It was the premiere of Waiting for Godot, Paris, 1953. The first occasion before our time maybe was the premiere of Six Characters in Search of an Author, Rome, 1921. But I enjoyed this. I got into it. I liked the translator's introduction. I liked the author's introduction. Both were very insightful and interesting about the creative process. I read those introductions before I read this play, and then I read them afterward. And I also watched a ton of YouTube videos on the topic, which those are out there. There's like a drama world that keeps plays alive, you know? And there are many adaptations and filmed versions of it. I watched this one filmed version that was just surreal because the audio seemed to have been redone in post. It was dreamy and strange. None of the dialogue and sound matched up to anything. There's an Australian movie version that was set in a TV network. But this is super meta. It has 3 acts, but they're unofficial acts that are just cleverly, organically woven into the structure of the play. Because it's a play in which the setting is the stage. And it starts off with a director and actors rehearsing. Don't you dare, squirrel. Oh, this is Squirrel saying, oh yeah, she liked this book too. She read it. And, yeah, she has rather strong feelings about it still, evidently. What is going on? She gets weird about stuff sometimes. She'll get like obsessed with a person's armpit or something. Why are you such a freak? So this director and some actors, including a leading man and a leading lady, are rehearsing on a stage of this place. And then these 6 characters that are fictional but have been realized are somehow there. And they come in demanding that their story be told. And the director immediately treats it as like some sort of avant-garde exercise, almost immediately. And it's like, okay, let's figure this out then if there's a story to be told. And you find out the story is dramatic and compelling. In parts, it's like, really? Oh, that's messed up. What's going on? Drama, the play in the making does start to draw you in. It's crazy. When I first went back to my old high school, which I've since worked out a bunch, it was as a parent of my daughter Anodyne, who's having her senior year there. Weird. I dropped out and didn't have a senior year there, and then she just had a senior year there. Weird. Symmetry. But when she was back there playing a guitar concert one time, went in and there were photos from when I was in school there that were still up on the walls of when my friend was an actor there, my friend James Smith. And there was a production of 6 Characters in Search of an Author up on the wall. And I talked to him on the phone after I saw that and took some photos of it. And we kind of caught up, and I was like, I can't believe you did 6 Characters in Search of an Author, because I've long been aware of this book and thought I should read that, but have not. Or if I did, I forgot it. But this felt fresh and new to me reading it. But yeah, and then I've watched like 2.5 versions of it performed online on YouTube. Look this up on YouTube. It's a lot. There's lectures on it. I watched one of those. I'm like a minor expert in this book now. But I read this over 5 reading sessions, I think. Maybe more than that because I reread the introductions later. But I thought this book was very interesting, full of insights, rewired my brain a little bit, made certain other things seem a little less original. I mean, this is a 104-year-old play. Crazy. I communed with the past. In translation. Translated by Eric Bentley. It's in the classics. They're real basics. Basic. Design-wise, it's like a very little simple, like almost Dover-like design. I've been calling these paperbacks the wrong kind of paperback for a while. I've been calling them trade paperbacks, but apparently that's larger sized paperbacks. And those are now the standard trade paperbacks. These are called mass market paperbacks. And apparently they're majorly on the decline now and may become extinct in the next few years or limited to very small press runs. But that is really sad because this used to be a very democratic, leveling field of a form, all kinds of books could be in this size. And they're so portable. Apparently one of their original names was pocketbooks because that was one of the first lines to make them starting around 1939. I've had paperbacks from that earliest batch. I had Lost Horizon, which people have often said was the first beautiful copy. I wish I still had that. Whatever happened to that copy of Lost Horizon? That could be a good song title. I'm gonna write it with Squirrel. The characters in this have just really generic names. They're like mother, daughter-in-law. There is a tragic family tale woven behind it, but it's by these characters that are barely completely drawn. A couple of them are pretty complete feeling, but the characters also stick around while the actors are portraying them. There's some really surreal scenes here. This stuff presages a lot. It gives me shivers a little bit thinking about some parts of it and just how it works, and it's interesting. I always love when something's kind of magical or off in a work and everyone kind of rolls with it. All right, what's happening here? Yeah, they come to the theater and demand the manager and his actors stage their life story. Yeah, I enjoyed this very much. But when I asked my friend about being in a play of this in high school, he said, oh yeah, the drama teacher was really she was far out. We did all kinds of crazy stuff for a high school drama department. Pretty cool. Yeah, let's see if I marked anything worthy of note. The game of role-playing. Oh, apparently that's another work of his. Yeah, it refers to himself also. It's very meta. Oh, and the idea that if something happens in a book, it's always happening. That's so interesting. Madame Pache. But it's interesting. Kind of woven throughout it is a little bit of a lesson from this playwright on the theater and the stage. And yeah, look at this weird drawing someone did here. Great. Thanks. It doesn't erase. I thought about erasing it. But fine. That's fine. Some might even say it grants the book character. But plays, what do you think of them? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you love to hate them? Do you hate to love them or love to love them? Or hate to hate them? Let us know what you think. Now, obviously plays are good and stuff, but why do people read plays and not screenplays? I think screenplays are a very compelling and neglected form. I wish they were represented here on this paperback case, but I don't believe there's a screenplay here. Definitely some plays, though. This is such a diverse collection. It's probably going to take me a decade to read it all, but After I do, I will transcend into a being of pure light. The voices in my head have promised me this. And we gotta listen to those, don't we, folks? Ha ha ha. All right. Oh, squirrel, you're so pretty. How are you so royal? Did y'all see that violence? This book's cool. I'd kind of like to see a really well-filmed, stylistic, modern version of this. That'd be great. I'm glad I read this. So now I feel like since I've read this, I've read and seen this performed before. And I've read 2 gigantic and important plays of the 20th century. So that just makes me better than everybody else. And that's important. That's why you read, folks. Just so you can be better than everybody else. Squirrel knows. Squirrel reads, but it's purely an act of ego. It's kind of disgusting. No, but 6 Characters in Search of an Author by Luigi Pirandello. And there's the 7th character. Oh, yes. In my script about walking across the country in a group of 6, I have a copy of this book be possibly visible in a bookstore, because I felt like that's who we were on that trip. We were 6 characters in search of an author. But I made that reference before I'd even read this. Yeah, it's funny. I wrote this screenplay that's entirely nonfiction because anytime I'm uncertain of a detail, I say as much. But you couldn't film it entirely nonfiction. I find that interesting because you'd have to make choices here and there to include it or not to include. Like I'll say, in this bookstore, there are books displayed. Maybe 1 or 2 of them that the camera notices have relevant titles. That's probably true because you could probably cherry pick a title from any time that any character walks into a store. But I will reread this. I would eagerly watch a production of this. I will seek out other versions. I clicked save to watch later on a ton of YouTube videos of versions of this. If I know anything about YouTube, it's relentless. It'll bug me for 3 years now to watch those, and I will. Some of my adult fandoms and enthusiasms are just because YouTube never stopped bugging me. I used to be a very casual Godzilla fan. I was like, Godzilla's cool. I remember watching those movies when I was growing up. They were fun. And YouTube was like, no, you would love this topic. And it just wouldn't stop recommending Godzilla stuff to me all the time. And eventually I'm like, well, these all sound kind of interesting now, I guess. You watch them, and then next thing you know, you're feel like an expert in this topic. I've seen all 40 movies. Squirrel, what did you think of 6 Characters in Search of an Author? Uh-huh. Right. Uh-huh. Oh, well, that's okay. I thought you liked it, though. Guess I got that wrong. I don't know. This project is forcing me to just read random stuff that was not high up on my list to read. You know what I'm reading now? Henry freaking James. I've meant to read that guy my whole life, and here I am. Finally reading this. Crazy. That cover disturbs me. Mark Twain called Henry James our finest lady author. Come on. I've never read Henry James, but I've always liked what I've heard about... Squirrel, why you always have to be next to me grooming yourself. Oh, have I licked between my toes? Well, that's a good thing to go sit right next to Mike and do. I hear that James was a real scholar and tried to bring the history of the art form into his work and to advance the medium. Anyway, would I have read this? I'm realizing now I've been hearing about this since the year 2000, I think. And I saw a copy of it at House of Sarah Books in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And a friend of mine told me he'd read it. Sometimes if your friend summarizes something really well, it's like, oh, okay, now I have a passing familiarity with that. You're not in as big a hurry to read it, maybe. Someone was telling me today that the new Hunger Games prequel is the best book of all 5, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Want to check it out? All right. Well, 6 Characters in Search of an Author by Luigi Pirandello. I liked it. It's only 80 pages long, but it's very thoughtfully written, and it's a play. It's interesting. I enjoyed it. It's sometimes funny. It's sometimes opaque. It's 104 years old, but and it's translated and it's great. I love the paperback project. I think I will title the book that I'm going to write about it someday I'm going to call it A Case of Good Fiction. Because it is. It's also occurred to me I can write the book before I read it all, because this is a 10-year freaking project. Fate would laugh at me, probably. Ha ha ha. He thinks he'll live 10 years. No one who owns books survives the next level of politics. Oh, great. Yeah, I read this book on distant reading. So interesting. It's here somewhere. Trees, Maps, Graphs, I think it's called. But it looks at the big patterns, looks at literature as data points, not as whole works of themselves, basically. Where is that? I could also see that book being an art crit or lit crit or film crit, and just the crit. I do love the crit. But basically every major trend in literature ends with a horrible political situation. Like the epistolary novel was the leading form of literature back in the day. The Gothic epistolary novel, that was all the rage. All it takes is tyranny to end a century-plus long literary tradition. Who knows? Never gonna see that book again. It's here in the collection. Well. Where's my gosh darn book? It's called Trees, Maps, Graphs, I think. Or no, it wouldn't just be in nonfiction. Well, that drives me crazy when I can't find a book I'm looking for. But if the book I was looking for was the one I've just read right here, I would have it. So, I mean, I don't know what y'all's plans were, but your plan now should be track down this play because a random YouTube video told you, and read it and enjoy it and feel a little bit expanded by it and get a bigger, better picture of the evolving world of drama and meta-drama, narrative and meta-narrative. It's pretty cool. Stories about stories, created characters that are meditations on character. It's very Charlie Kaufman, many, many decades before. I suppose the history of like experimental literature and experimental drama are really overlapped and influence back and forth, Drama does seem very insular to me of a world sometimes. I'm glad there's drama on the paperback project bookcase. The mass market paperbacks. Now that I know they're dying out, that makes this case even more valuable, more poignant. I'm going to play that sad Interstellar music over the whole documentary about it. Oh yeah, sometimes the cats get so freaked out by something. I'm like, ugh. When I got up like in a hypnopompic dream state, I thought I saw like a black figure walk past. The cats were skittering all around and making weird noises. But I think it was that I was like half asleep. Creepy. That's what I'm saying sometimes, squirrel, a little bit. And you got rabbit feet. This has been adapted many times, but yeah. There's a list on Wikipedia. See why. It's fresh and fun. A high school should put this on. It's good. 104 years old. 1921. Crazy. Walked so. Could run, maybe. I think this runs on its own. It's pretty great. I enjoyed it, and the more I think about it, the more like cerebrally satisfying of a piece it is, and inviting of a reread or a rewatch. Pirandello planned to write 365 stories and entitle the results stories for 1 year, but only got 233 written. I was thinking about doing that with these little vignettes of like writing advice to myself that I've written. I have a collected book, unpublished book of them. Just like these little 200-word vignettes of like meditation on a good principle that helps create good writing. Like, put like with like. There's a video from an abandoned series where I started to just read that book. Filming the visuals laden Microsoft Word document of it. I thought that'd be cool to do one of those for every day, and then you could do like a desktop calendar. But, you know, the greats advance the medium. They advance the form. The best ideas become their own genres, their own things. And the best creators advance the mediums. Raymond Loewy's most advanced yet accessible. Take it to the limit. Leave people a way to enjoy it. This is something new and fresh, and you can feel it even in this 104-year-old text. Wow. What if I tattooed a copy of this book on my face? That's how much I liked it. Never had one tattoo before, but I'm suddenly getting a face tattoo. Yeah, I don't think I quite love it that much. But I do like the thought that there might be a book out there that I love that much. I guess I feel that if you like a book strongly enough to tattoo it on your face right away when never having had a tattoo, then there should be signs of it before that, you know. Like, you know, a collection of first editions or something. Well, I'm sorry if I disappointed anyone with my review. This book is not good enough to make me tattoo it on my face. I apologize if that makes any of you less eager to read this now, because it really is very good. Also, I'm not sure if such a book exists that would make me do that. Like, this book is transcendent and has a very cool cover, but still, well, all right. This has been book 12 of probably about 190 from the Paperback Project. The project continues. It will until I finish or drop dead. Why not both? Sweet release of death and the satisfaction of completing a goal? That sounds fine. Yeah, so I've read 12 books from this shelf now. It's hard to keep bringing it up, but I realize now I want to reread all 12. I liked all of them. They literally, like, I think that's how it's going to stay. Because if something's not good, it's going to go away. Even if I'm just not feeling it for this collection, which is a very varied collection, both in time and geography and backgrounds. And I tried to have as diverse a group of authors as I could within this world of available mass market paperbacks. The latest book is from 2001, The Corrections. I think I have ones for every decade of the 1900s and for every century of the last 1,000 years, except for the 1200s and 1400s. I'm going to try to track those down still. And the collection is continually being refined, and I don't know. It's getting to the point where I can't refine it much further. I wanted to add today, and I just figured out a way to add it without removing any. Magic Barrel. This one's kind of interesting because it won the National Book Award the same year that famous book from Philip Roth came out, which says this won the National Book Award. Hey. Is One Yellow Lion? I just stumbled onto a literary mystery. Okay, won it. 1959 for fiction. It's also fiction. Also came out in 1959. Well, today my YouTube channel has done the opposite of educate anyone. I've added confusion and a mystery. In this case, this will be the last one I look at because I've been continually refining it. And I mean, I have to get rid of stuff sometimes. Like, look, the Greek plays have been pared down to just a book of 4 playwrights and then one book from each of those 4. Amazing. Beautiful set. So many Shakespeare plays in paperback, but I just took Hamlet to represent him. He's represented enough over the years, I think. And then Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, so that they're like a set. It's just a beautiful bookcase. I love it. All right, and now you get to go live there with them. These are the books I've read represented by just one author. I read some of these down here, but they are people that have multiple entries here on the shelf. I've read many of these, like, randomly, you know. 20% maybe. At one time or another in my life. But this is a read of everything that I'm talking about. Right. 6 characters in search of an author. Good job. Excellent. Being a play. You. I'll read a big book next, coming up soon anyway. Maybe Les Mis or David Copperfield. Roots. Read that a couple times. Right, Henry James, you're next. Easy Miller is in here, so that's good. It's actually 4 different works. 1870s. And beyond, I think. Alright, everybody. Just remember this channel's motto. Please, sir, can I have a coin?